Welcome. What a lovely turnout. What beautiful people. Yeah. I've just helped Chloë to park. As you know, Cheltenham at this time of year is a bit of a challenge. But anyway, we're so glad to be able to use this beautiful centre. And just for those of you who don't know about the PHA, the People's Health Alliance, the People's Health Alliance is a grassroots organisation. And there are lots of little hubs starting up all over the country. And the idea is to create an opportunity for people to experience integrative medicine and to take power of their own health. Because we live in a world where we are more and more disempowered as far as health is concerned. So we feel that there is a need for people to understand their bodies, understand what health is, and understand what tools they might have to be able to do something about it. There is a Gloucestershire hub. The Gloucestershire one is the county-wide hub, and I'm representing the Cheltenham hub. There's a few of us here today who've been working together to start the Cheltenham hub. We aren't officially launched yet, but this is the first time we've actually hosted one of the PHA workshops. So welcome. If you'd like to become involved with the PHA, or if you just simply want us to keep in touch with you, then I think Caroline over here has got a piece of paper. She can write your contact details down before you go. Donations gratefully accepted. Thank you very much. We obviously can't do this for free. And there's also some raffle tickets here. We'll have a raffle draw at the end with some rather nice prizes. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Chloë. Chloë Goodchild, very well known, the Naked Voice. She's been doing this and developing for years, many years. Sorry, decades. Make sound old. For a long time. But she's amazing at what she does, got a great reputation, and we're going to have a fantastic time. So over to Chloë. Thank you very much.
Really fantastic to be here. Thank you so much for helping me park.
No problem.
Yes, so here we are, and yes, it's nearly 40 years since I first left music education, formal music education. I was very blessed to be, I was one of the privileged ones, if you like, that was given an opportunity at that time to really just imbibe the whole Western repertoire of sacred music as a teenager. And that really saved my life at that time, because schools were not interesting. And in fact, music education itself, I didn't realise at that time, but it really was already very fixed and very kind of westernized, in a way that really didn't allow for a much wider experience of what music is and what the musical mind is. I wanted to know what the musical mind is, because it seems as if in music education we were led to believe that you were either going to be a musician or not, and you'd find yourself, many of us would have found ourselves, in one of those absolutely terrifying situations where you have some kind of fascist music teacher, in front of you, give you a piece of paper, now sing that, and if you can sing it, you're in, and if you can't sing it, you're out. It's like, what's that? What's that got to do with music? Nothing at all. So it was a kind of, it was really, but nevertheless, I was, because of my experience with deafness, I think there's a little bit written about that in the intro. Thanks, Jonathan. I had traumatic surgery on my ears at the age of 4, and that really, it brought about a kind of partial deafness for about 3 years. So really formative years of my childhood. But it was like, so lovely, bless you again. Oh dear, I'm so sorry. But actually, I think it was, it was a kind of wounded healer moment. Because it gave me an opportunity to really experience silence and to really understand the value and the beauty of silence, which I now call presence. Because according to all my wonderful sound healing scientist friends, there is no silence. You know, there's just a lot of vibration and frequency and energy going on. There's just a lot of it. We just as human beings, we've had our hearing locked down in some way or other. We can't hear those kind of higher frequencies of silence. What does that mean? You know. So today we're going to explore what is silence, you know, and what part does discovering your voice have to do with silence. And so as a child, I really did discover that. You know, I would be walking about, my dad was a priest, and so we were blessed to live in these incredible buildings, and at that time we were living in Horsham in Sussex. My dad was Vicar of Sussex. I just wish we'd never left there. It was so brilliant. It was so beautiful. Big, you know, it's like some nostalgic memory of that. Big gardens, you know, lots of nature, lots of relationship with birds. And so my mum took me out of school, thank God, because that wasn't going down too well, because my one of my teachers was really annoyed that I couldn't hear. Isn't that extraordinary, isn't it? She was just really annoyed I couldn't hear. And so then I was placed at the front. You know, you have these absolutely traumatic memories of being placed at the front of the class and still not being able to hear what she was, you know, and the louder she got, the deafer I got. You know, it's like, so my dear mum took me out of school, and so I had this opportunity just to really connect with nature. And I have very, very many dear memories of that, particularly communicating with birds and getting to hear the sound of these birds, their frequencies, which was really interesting because as apparently, you know, I was not able to hear very much. I could hear these sounds that these birds were making, and they were very generous. You know, they hang around, and they were willing to, you know, to let me know that it was going to be worth it. It was all going to be worth it. So slowly the hearing came back, and then I had the kind of experience of having to adjust myself, socialize myself, you know, with a lot of increasing amounts of chatter. What just experiences this kind of noise going on between human beings. And that really, so it was really music itself, music as in Western instrumental music and choral music that saved my life. That was the next thing. Because it was really, I would just go to these endless, you know, summer schools and just surround myself, just immerse myself in this sound, this choral sound. And because for whatever reason, you know, I seemed to be quite good at maths. And then I discovered, of course, that maths and music go together really well. And so this journey into the musical mind really got going. And I found myself just singing, you know, like Bach and Monteverdi and Vivaldi and you name it, just like the whole deal, right up to, you know, Benjamin Britten and everything. How many people here actually sing on a regular basis, like whatever that means? Yeah, just go. Yeah, it's so interesting because if you take away the on a regular basis, say that again. If you take away the on a regular basis, you might get more hands. On a regular basis. Oh, I see.
Not on a regular basis.
No. Okay, so this is really cool. Let's just launch into this. What does singing mean to you? What is singing? Just anything that comes to mind. What is singing? Joy, yeah. Emotion, it's the expression of emotion, it's the expression of joy, yeah. Grounding, yes, absolutely, grounding. Vibration, absolutely, yep. Language of the universe. This is getting more exciting by the minute. So I can hear I'm in a really pretty evolved group here. That's really lovely. Because for most of us, you know, singing is not speaking, right? And it's not silence. So long story short, I started teaching in schools, music education, then discovered that it was the lowest status subject in the school. So I got very, very concerned about that. I was involved in the Quakers at that time. I was getting involved in Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King. This was back in the 70s and the 80s, and just realizing that institutional violence was the problem. That was the reason why, music education just was not on the agenda. It just was not happening. Science, technology, everything else was just like bigger and bigger and bigger and better. But music itself was like something you do almost like extracurricular. And now more recently you have to pay for it. Imagine having to pay for something that is so natural. It is extraordinary, isn't it? So all of these kind of experiences I was having, so I got into Martin Luther King, Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, we're just going to go for peace education. So I created something called peace education along with a group of other people to really basically help adults not to be afraid of children. It seemed obvious to me because that's the problem I'd had at school. Was I was like, most of the time I was in the head teacher's study saying, why am I being taught everything but what I want to know? And she was great. She was totally into the conversation, and it didn't go anywhere because she was like the headmistress and this was a really academic school and all of that. But she was great because at least she allowed the conversation to happen. So that conversation continued. I then found myself, I was funded by Roundtrees to the Quaker group for 3 years to develop this, what we call conflict resolution in schools. So that started to help me to hear, if we can actually all start listening to each other more widely and deeply and unconditionally, then maybe there's a chance that music will just start coming in more, there'll be more, it'll happen. It did not happen. Not yet, but it's now happening. It is happening. And at that point, I found myself in this eccentric situation on the World at One. I thought, how did I get into this situation? Who's that guy, Robin Day? Was it Robin Day? Yeah. And I had no idea. It just seemed like an obvious thing to me to do, conflict resolution in schools. But it was the same time that the CND movement was happening in the early 80s. So I was also seen climbing the fences of Greenham Common, and bringing down the Trident missiles and all of that. That seemed a very obvious thing to what to do too, while singing, right? While singing. And so for 3 years that happened until I found myself, Robin Day, now we're going to talk about peace education. And it sounded more like piss education, actually. And so that was the end of that little conversation right there. And I started realizing my phone was being bugged. I thought, okay, maybe I'll just go back to music at this point. Let's just kind of re-acclimatize. So I didn't have no sense that it was like Blonde Bombshell, promotes Moscow indoctrination in schools. That was simply because we were just collided with CND movement. So suddenly we were part of that, and we were. But that was the interpretation. So here am I on this mission, to bring music to the world. And so I thought, okay, let's just get back to whatever music was for me before this all started happening. But it was a really important experience because it started to face me with the shadow realms of the musical mind that have not been addressed, So that is this out and out separation between the right and left brain, right? So that on the right brain, you have all this lovely kind of, okay, music is the right brain, it's just like everything that's happening, from feeling and intuition, it's lovely. Speaking is the left brain, and ne'er the twain shall meet. Are you a good speaker? How many people actually enjoy speaking more than singing so far? Yeah. Understandable. And it is music. Speaking is music. You see, we're just about to find that out in a minute. How many people just prefer singing to speaking? 1, 2, 3, yeah, me too. I've tended to be that person, yeah. So it's what we call speaking and singing. So I left the kind of totalitarian England for a moment in time and went roaring off to Africa and the Middle East and to India. Long story short, India was really Africa. I spent 7 months just out in the outback, just absorbing, music as lived in everyday life. Music as a way of life. It's not like some separate thing. The first music class I went into, I said, "So what is your understanding of this?" And they said, "Okay, Miss Goodchild, we'll show you." So we went out of the classroom, and so-called, and just onto this flat piece of land. Suddenly I was surrounded by everybody. I was in the middle, and there was just this drumming started, and then they just started dancing around me, and it was like, oh my God, where have I been? Where have I been? This was the dance of the jumping goat, and I was the goat. Okay. It was absolutely incredible. It really was, and such joy, such absolute empowerment. Nothing left out. Everything shared, everything expressed. So, but it wasn't really till I got to India and started exploring the anahata of sound. So the unstruck sound. So going deeper through and within and through the indigenous into Indian spiritual philosophy, and just finding myself wondering, goodness, what's happening here? I started in England studying Indian vocal philosophy with an amazing French guy called Juliet, master of Indian raga. And he started introducing me to the unchanging note. And this to me was like, just coming home. Coming back to, in fact, that state and that place I'd been as a child. Like an unchanging reality where everything is included, nothing is left out. So this harmonium, which has lots of different incarnations, Celtic as well as Indian and Christian, is kind of like my best friend, really. It just is so cool. Can you hear? It's just... And the wonderful Zach Bush that many of you may know about. I was just listening to him talking yesterday, about the sound of bees and how the sound of bees in a beehive is C, middle C, which is what this is. And it cures untold suffering. If you actually just play this sound and to yourself, sound it, hum it, you'll be absolutely amazed by just what can happen. So just enjoy now. Just find both your feet on the floor if you would. And just enjoy just settling in. And just let your eyes close. And just find yourself smiling a little bit. And just bring the awareness down into the feet. And just let yourself join that sound, wherever it is for you. It's all music. So just receive it when you hear it, wherever it lands in you. And just notice where it lands in you. Really enjoy it. Just drink it in. Receive it, receive it, receive it. Yep. And then just let your jaw drop. So that'll create an effortless ah. And then just go back to the again and just explore what that's like. Just receive a bit more and give more away. Stop, just keep following it. Miles and miles and miles. So beautiful, lovely. Really just enjoy that. Very simple, relaxing, breathing, sounding. To ah to place your hands just on the belly. Oh yeah. And just still be with that sound, even though you may not be actually physically sounding. Just still hear it. And hear it as if it's coming from the belly, the first power center, if you like, the will center, the my will center, we call it my will center. Center of nourishment and nervousness and all kinds of gorgeous things. And just find yourself just slightly just laughing a little bit, like see if you can find a little bit of a you know, I mean, what are we doing? Oh, lovely. Yeah, I mean, really. So the belly is great because it just knows how to laugh, and that's really where the really belly instinctual voice comes from, the instinctual mind. All your amazing belly laughter and sound comes from there. Crying, tears, as well as laughter, the whole deal, the whole spectrum of human emotion. And every single state is music. You see? So that's where I really start being so happy that I met Jonathan and Rosie. Because homeopathy, for me, music is a kind of homeopathy. And we'll just explore that in a minute. So now, just find yourself, I'm just going to land a few notes down here. I'm just going to hold a few to keep this lovely unchanging anahata, I love that word, the anahata. The unstruck sound, so it's the sound before sound. What does that mean? That's another whole conversation, which we may or may not have time for tonight. But self-inquiry has become a really deep part of this work with the naked voice. So it's not just about kind of, how loud and how entertaining can I be? It's in fact, it's nothing about that. It is about really finding the most authentic expression of oneself imaginable. You see? And that is always a good idea. So what happens if you just go just try that. That was interesting, wasn't it? What did you notice about that in your own sound? It was much freer somehow. It was much more willing to go for it. Yeah. So we connected with the belly. This is good news. The belly's on board. And then what you're doing there is just really grounding it, really embodying it right here. Not like, oh. It's none of that. Here we go, and again. And just find yourself, just let that laughter come out wherever it comes out, okay? And that's not something you have to learn. It's just like we're wired for that, really, aren't we? I mean, I love doing that with, people that really think they're somebody. You start laughing and it just completely, whatever their mission, whatever their choice of work is in this life, you just start laughing and they can't help, it's just impossible not to. What happens if you just go up another step, just like, to feel things going on in the body that kind of weren't happening maybe a few minutes ago. I'm really interested to know if you notice a difference between what happened from there, and then see if you notice. just explore that. So there are two versions of that. In India, every note has like an upper, a lower, and a middle version of itself. And what I was playing you there was the upper version of this place. So far we've gone. Now what I did a little tricky thing there. I went a little bit sharper than that. I went ma. Can you hear any difference? What is the difference? What changes? Let's do it again. Now I'm going to make it a little bit sharper, so it's more like. So it's that note that you get in West Side Story. Those of you that might have heard of that. Yeah, there's a real temptation. You just want to keep going up, don't you? That again, we are wired for that. You see, I didn't even talk about that, but we can't help ourselves. We're wired to ascend, and we're wired to bring whatever is learnt up there back down. I always remember going to hear this wonderful Ayurvedic Indian doctor, and he said to me, well, you were very, excuse me using a slightly Indian voice, because I just totally love the Indian voice. In fact, I wish I was. I'm actually Indian on the inside, so do not be fooled by this appearance of middle-class spiritual shopper on the outside. So it's like, and he said, oh, you are very, very, you are therapist, I think. Yes. I said, oh, you like healing everybody and making sort of very happy people. So I said, you are very, very happy on you. Very happy on you, he said. And I am very sorry to have to tell you, this may sound like a very tall order, but this is your last life. Right. Okay. So you can imagine, like my egoic mind was going, oh yes, obviously I'm just about to ascend. I'm just going to, I've obviously done my work. It's fine. And so there was all of this, and at that time I was working with a wonderful Rumi poet called Coleman Barks, who's a beautiful, beautiful soul. Some of you might have heard of his Rumi poems and so on. And we were roaring around Canada and America. But he's a very down-to-earth guy. He loves wine and down-to-earth. And he's like a sort of Dionysian monk. But wherever we went, he was like every hotel I would come down to breakfast and he'd have the Rumi's Mathnawi open, and he'd just be translating all the time these Rumi poems. It was an extraordinary experience, an incredible privilege. But I said to him, come, just to let you know, I just had this reading, and I've just been told this is my last life. And he said, and he thought about that, and he said, we'll miss you. I was like, oh, right. So that brought in a whole other conversation about attachment, what we came to call pure attachment, and what on earth that is, you know. Now, many of us have great attachment to the narrative of my voice. Let me tell you how terrible my voice is, you know, and let me tell you how many terrible things happened to me, my parents, blah, 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 blah. So the point is, we don't really have time to get too much into that. But what you can do is just literally, for a few days, if you feel to do it, is you just wake up, like morning pages, you know, when you just open a piece of paper, get a pen out, and you just write, without thinking about it, the story of your life. From 0 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 9, 9 to 12, 12 to 15, right up to whatever must be about 23 for this group, I imagine. And then you just literally slough it off. Because what you're doing is, you're not just writing the story of your life about it, you're writing the story of your voice. So it's like experiencing your life through the persona of your voice. And that is really cool, because you actually start realizing, goodness, that experience I had actually engaged me with my voice. You know, it wasn't some bad person doing something awful to me. Actually, that woke me up, you know. Or that really gentle person really taught me something about that, you know, and so on, so on, so on. And so I just invite you to do that. We've got on our website just loads of free practices that you can do. Just go to Bang, the Naked Voice, and all the information about that is there. It's called Vocal Self-Portrait. So once you've done that, you're free. You're just free of your narrative. You see? You can start really exploring. I mean, when I say you're free to explore the music that was given to you by your vocal narrative. Not in a kind of dualistic, that was bad, that was good, that was right, that was wrong, but more like, wow, you know, that voice came from there. One of my voices came from my French teacher. I was always late for her lessons, I don't know why, I just always was. And she really didn't like that, but she was a brilliant teacher, and I learned so much from her. And what was particularly interesting was that she used to be sitting in the car outside with her lover drinking whiskey. And that was great, you know, because I was like, oh my God, she's really cool. She's really cool. So, you know, those things. So that got me absolutely passionate about French. And French got me passionate about different Latin languages, and so on and so on. So every experience we have is really, 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 really important, however abusive. And I would say that. I've been lucky enough to work with Bert Hellinger. Some of you might know Bert Hellinger, he created Family Constellations, a version of. And it was really through him also. He spent 12 years in silence as a monk before he started this constellation process. And so silence, he taught me about silence in between the words, in between whatever the narrative is that's going on. So where were we? Sama. So there's that, you see. Now that is a really magic note. Believe it or not, that note was abolished by the Christian Church in the 17th century for making people too open-hearted. Extraordinary. Isn't that extraordinary? That music, it's this famous note. Maria. It's that one. So it's the augmented fourth. Now, if I may, because we don't have much time, I realise. Normally I've just come from a 4-day retreat. We've been working like 7:30 in the morning to 11 o'clock at night. So 2 hours is very precious, and we've probably got about 5 minutes or something. How long have we got?
I have no idea. I'm doing it.
So just let me know when you've had enough, and or when it's about quarter of an hour from having enough. And so, are we okay? Good. Because what I would love to do, I would love you to take away what I call the 7 sounds of love, and you know this very well. Has anybody else heard of the 7 sounds of love? 1 or 2? Yeah. So I am so excited to introduce you to this because for me it really is, it's a body-centered singing map that takes you through, you know, the Julie Andrews, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, you know, and I'm a little terrified of her. So I was very grateful for India, which brought in these other notes, you see, which were mantras. And of course the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, they are mantras also. But I'm still recovering from Julie Andrews because I used to watch that film. I watched it about 11 times. The Sound of Music. That was really a very important part of my childhood. So we love Julie Andrews, we do. So for many months and years in India, you would just be sounding one note. So first of all, you're asked, what is your note? Did anybody ever ask you what your note is? All right, well, we'll find that out in a minute. Okay, we'll find that out. So, what is your note, right? And then you sing that note for your entire life in India. You know, if you're a classical Indian raga singer. So today, we're going to find out what your note might be. But before we go there, I just want to introduce you 7 sounds of love. So, just shake your hands a little bit if you would. And just shake your shoulders. And just blow some raspberries. That's really great. Bring your hands together. Together, and just imagine that you're joining the left and the right brain as we speak. They will never again be, well, they will, but not in the way that we once knew them. So bring them up right high, and like you're making a fire with the sky, and then just shake that all around you, okay? It's like, you may not be able to do this, but actually go all the way around, but don't worry. Just whatever you can do, that's good. Good, and then just bring it down. And then just lift the arms up a little bit. Breathing in, as you probably are, and down. And breathing in, and down. And breathing in, and fantastic. How's that feel? Good? Lovely. So just rotate the shoulders a little bit. Great. That's good. The other way, both ways. Lovely. And then just up and down. Up and down, breathing in. As you go up, down. Just find yourself smiling as you do this. What is she going to do next? I literally don't know. I mean, I do. Okay. So what we're about to do is the fruit of 25 years working with a really crazy Japanese energy movement master, Masashi Minagawa, and it's my absolute gratitude to him that he saw me sitting and singing endlessly on the floor. So why are you sitting still? So slowly but surely we started moving not only up the scale, but moving every single step of the way. So these are all what I'd like to share with you are sword movements, which if you literally had a sword in your hand would be really quite dangerous. Okay, but essentially compassionate. Sword of compassion. Okay? That's gorgeous. And then open. And just see how this feels. You may want to stand up. Could get very intimate, by the way, which is great. Which is lovely. So this is just say, I am. Yeah. And then you just bring your hands together. This is called pointing towards heaven. That's good. Then you bring it down over your head in front of your eyes. And so if you had a sword in your hand, you literally, so you're looking outwards, and the sword would be in line with your third eye. So just feel where that feels good for you. This is Diamond Mudra. And you can just stay here for an hour and you'll do yourself a lot of good. This is really about developing the witnessing, self-observing mind. We'll come back to that as well. Sword becomes flower, okay? Flower opens right out into brightening the whole world. Brightening the whole world. So that the hands are literally receiving light from the sky. And then you tuck your elbows under and you bring your hands together into a flower, if you like, offering. Beautiful, really beautiful. Thank you. This is called offering flowers, and this is related to that note we were singing, the augmented fourth. And then we're going to soft fist the offering flowers into instinctual will, so that the fists come back as if you were on a horse, right? And you're holding the reins, so all your passions are in really contained. Lovely. And then you just let that go into what's called brightening, spreading light. So your hands are now like laser beams. Can you feel that? So they're like shooting light out of your fingers. You can feel that, and just let that light roar up the arms and up to the shoulders and up into the neck and up and down the whole body, whole torso, down the legs, down into the earth, and then right on up. That's lovely. Is that wind outside we're hearing? It's so lovely, isn't it? Can you hear the sound of that wind? Okay. And then just letting that light come right up the back of up the spine, connecting with the skull, the whole of the skull and the pineal, and then on up into the sky and back down again. Coming right back down to focus on those hands, and then closing your hands, and your right hand goes around the left thumb. So your left hand is like the sheath, and your right hand is the sword. So it's going into the sheath. So your right hand is around your left thumb, and you bring your feet together, close the eyes, and come back to source. And take that awareness on down into the earth. Lovely. You just notice how you feel in your body. Now we're going to do exactly the same journey, starting from the root, and we're going to replace the sword movement names with affirmations. So, I am at the root. Let's play with this. I am. I am. Okay, the eyes are closed. The eyes are now opening. The hands are opening. The stance is opening, and you just simply say, I open. I open. Beautiful. The eyes are open, and you just can't help yourself, you're smiling because you actually just entered the human field. Lovely. And so then just bringing your hands forward and soft fists into I will. I will. Okay. This is all about, this is your voice speaking, by the way. It's just in case you haven't noticed. I will, right? And then I give. I give. Just feel what? Just notice which ones are particularly lovely. and I share. Wonderful. And you bring your hands together. I serve. I surrender. I love. That could be I am again, actually, because it's all love. So let's just say I am again. It's just a higher frequency of I am. I am. So we're going to bring that back down in. I surrender. So yes, I serve. I share. I give. I'm smiling so much. I will. Yes. Oh, that was yes. Right. Okay. All right. I open. Do you think you know it well enough now to turn around and just try it out with 2 other people? Maybe one more time to all together. Okay. So this time we're going. Would you like it with the affirmations again? So you remember those? Yeah. By the way, all of these are in the website, so you don't have to worry about remembering anything. It's just you to go to the website. Boom! There it is, a PDF with the whole deal. Okay. So don't even try and remember anything. That was another thing about school, was that you had to remember stuff.
Yes.
God, and you really got. Anyway. So I am. We forgive all our fascist teachers. I open. Yay! We don't even mind anymore. And I will. Yes. I give. I share. Ah, that was strong. I serve. I surrender. I am. Cosmic, I am. Yes. I surrender. I serve. I share. I give. I will. I open. I am. Fantastic. Do you like that? Yeah. And I mean, you can do this in the street.
Everybody outside.
Let's go. Actually, just have a little chat with each other about which one feels particularly strong for you, which one not so familiar, maybe, just with little chat maybe for a
Oh,
moment.
yes, you like that one. Yeah. It's like the horse. Yeah.
The well.
I like that one. Yes.
Which one is that?
Love it.
I'll follow you.
You lead.
Oh no, you're in front.
Start there, do we?
You coming in? Oh no, you're not visible. Oh no. So, have a little rest for a moment. Yeah. Just have a little rest for a moment. Just let your body sink onto the ground. Just to say, or the chair. Just to say that practice, those words actually came from 9-year-old children. They clearly weren't in school, but one of our facilitator graduates basically was working in school with these children, and we were doing it more like with the music and with the scale. So now I'm going to use, we're starting on A. I just love A, that is my note. So I'm now going to give you another set. You're really good at this. I mean, it's like bang, it's there, it's happening. That's really lovely. Losing the plot. Well, maybe, but so can you feel how when you put those together? Oh, are you okay for time?
I've got to go and put more money on the car.
I mean, come on.
Which is
Just
really
burn the ticket.
Yeah, burn the ticket.
Oh, I wish. Sorry. Cheltenham for you.
Everybody's got to do what they've got to do. Okay, well, that's a whole other conversation. So that's very much I will, yes. So what kind of will are we talking about? Because there are three wills, okay? There's this will, there's I will, right? I'm going to get this right? And then there's the devotional will, all right? Which is much more kind of thy will. This is like more like my will, this is thy will, okay? So can you feel that? My will opens into thy will. Yeah, whatever thy, in other words, something that is beyond the egoic mind. It doesn't have to be a Christian God suddenly or Muhammad or somebody. No, it is your own thy will. That is your own self-will. So, my will, thy will. Okay, so this ga, really, really important. Great medicine, great medicine. They're all great medicine. This is moving into devotional. So you're moving beyond, right, I'm right, they are not, right? You're moving beyond that to, and just that itself, sorry, that was kind of moving from that to that. But you know how when you suddenly realize, my God, I can do this, it goes more like that. So there are many versions of that to that. So thy will, our will, you know, this is called brightening the whole world. Masashi told me that when he first did this with, I think it was 100 Italian martial artists, he said, oh, they were very shocked. They were very shocked. And he, because as a martial artist, you don't normally do that. You know, it's quite sort of Jedi-ish. You know. So that then moves up into that will. So this is my personal experience at this point. I'm not giving you some kind of map that this is it now. You know, you've got to really find it for yourself. Through my own self-inquiry, that's what happened. So my experience of non-dualism, if you like, all the work that I was doing in India with non-dual teachers, combined with the musicality of working with the Indians with the scale, which basically accords with the chakras, which accords with the whole sovereignty of the human self, you know, that came together into my will, thy will, and that will. And once you've got all the three wills aligned, you're a very happy person. So that's why it's so ludicrously disarming, particularly in the public or wherever you happen to be just singing up and down the scale. Because it's like they don't think you're doing anything particularly, you know, demanding or kind of suspicious, because it's singing, you know, and basically whoever you are, and I've worked in McGalbury prison in Belfast, I've worked in New York High Security Prison, everybody understands this. They understand this deeper reality, you know. It's so interesting, isn't it? But that's a whole other conversation for a longer period of time. So now what I'm going to do is to introduce you to the musicality of the movements and the affirmations. So these are energy movements. Now we're making them human. We're going, right, okay, in order to become whole, I am just going to do this for hours. This was my story, right? Because in my life, I was very ascending identified. You know, so thank God Musashi came into my life, because I was singing in a concert and my egoic mind had actually literally disappeared. I'd had this very transformative experience in India, and I'd come back to England and I was singing. I was so blissed out all the time. It's like blissed out but completely ungrounded, totally ungrounded. And he came up at the end of this concert and he just said, I think I can see what you are doing. He was very, very Japanese and very Zen at that point. He was very black and white and I was very colour. And he just came up at the end and he just went, and I went, goodness, what did I deserve that for? And he said, I think I can see what you are doing. And I just said, thank God. He said, so I said, what do you see? He said, well, you're sending your energy too far out there. Everybody in the audience is going, where's she gone? And he said, I'll bring you back. That took him 25 years, by the way. So I am a little bit more grounded now. You know, I'm still learning. So here we go. So we're now joining the energy movements with the affirmations, with the sound of those affirmations. So that's 3 layers of it all. And then we've got the 3 wills, so we brought that in as well. There's quite a lot. I'm amazed you're still in the room, quite frankly. So here we go. So, so just practice that for a couple of hours. Then you go to don't rate me, and if you actually sing it more like get all the million microtones that are in between each note. Sa, so then you start the next note even before you get sa, and you slide into it. Sa, name? Karen, would you mind just coming here so that everybody can see the movements? Because you've got them down. I can see you've been practicing, girl.
I'll just remember.
So now you can do both hands. Thanks to Karen. Here we go. So if you do with the movements as well, with the sound, all of us, and stay sitting or standing, whatever you feel. Central spine, guard, solar plexus, up into heart center, up into palm, throat, down the third eye, knee, the back of the head, moving on up to the all that cosmic energy down through the music of your own soul. Draw it in with your awareness, with your self-inquiring mind. I can do this. I can do this. I am this sound, this interior sound. Sound awareness. My inner voice. Let yourself stand for a moment, just still hearing that note inside you, grounding, taking the awareness on down into the earth, at your feet, 1,000 miles down. Be aware of the presence in which you stand, the music of the body, the vibration, the frequency, and the energy of love, that we are as one voice. Just internally, I'm just going to go up again without any movement at all. Just internally track it. Second, up into the third, ga, solar plexus, ma, the heart center, ha, throat center, da, third eye, behind you. And then just bring that down, bring all that beautiful cosmic energy, awareness down into your body. Breathing, smiling, receiving, receiving, receiving. Aware of your presence filling the room, just joining forces with everyone here, expanding out beyond the building to encompass the whole of Cheltenham, right out across the land of the Celtic Isles. Out into Europe, into all the oceans, and the land, and the people, and the children, and the animals, and the elementals. And then just bring the awareness right back to your body. And when you're ready, just to let yourself just relax on the chair again. Thank you so much. How's that? Do you feel that would be something you could practice, you could imagine practicing? We were once practicing it in the middle of a dual carriageway in the middle of Dublin, where we've done a lot of work in Ireland, and we were with a wonderful singer called Noreen. Some of you may have heard of her, incredible Celtic singer, and she was with us, and we were just practicing. It's not performing, you're just practicing. And it's so interesting how human beings really love to join in. You're not trying to make anything happen. You're just enjoying practicing outside. It's really interesting. Really interesting. This beautiful priest came along that actually knew Noreen, and he kind of wondered what she was doing there. And she said to me, "Oh, Chloë, oh my God, Chloë." I said, "What's happening, Noreen?" And she said, "Oh, well, that's Father, I can't remember his name." And he knows me. Oh, okay. So it was like, but it was too late. He'd seen her. And it was so sweet because he said, "Oh, Noreen, how are you? It's great to see you." And she said, "Oh, great father, lovely to see you." And so he said, "What are you doing?" And she said, "Well, ask them." So he watched. It was really sweet. And he really watched. He really took it in. And we did a concert that night. And I just remember I told the story and how touched I'd been by this priest. And somebody came up to me at the end of the concert and said that was not the end of the story, because he actually was on his way to a service. And he took those practices directly into his church. I think it was the cathedral in Dublin. It was a big church anyway. Who cares? It was a church. And he basically shared that with his entire congregation. That's so sweet, really lovely. I think that's the lovely thing about it, is it's just so physical and so subtle that it just,
Animals love it too. I've sat with my harmonium in a field, and the cows just gather round.
Gorgeous.
It's so lovely. I've yet had the courage to do it on Mitchenhampton Common.
Let's do it.
Shall we do it?
Let's do it. Yeah, because there's a really nice pub there as well.
You might get Princess Anne wandering over there.
I might join in.
I bet she'd be good at it, actually. Yes. So, literally any way you can do this, you really, really can. So, are there any questions, or we can just sing a bit? Yeah.
You were saying at one point you needed to help us to find our notes.
Ah, yes, thank you so much for reminding me. So I learned this from an incredible woman. I've been lucky to work one-to-one with people online over the last 3 years. And this woman from San Francisco, she was really, I really am just totally professional. I just love my work so much. She was really together. She was really professional. And so I said, "So what do you do?" She said, "Well, I help people die consciously." So I went, "Oh my God, that's amazing. That's really incredible." So I said, "And your voice is amazing. Your speaking voice is incredible. Why do you think we're in this conversation? Maybe I should be paying you, because I'd love to know what you're up to." We would change round. And I said, "How do you feel about your voice?" Just very innocently. And as soon as I said, "How do you feel about your voice?" she went, "Oh, well, I really like it. My husband doesn't like it. It's kind of like that." And I was like, "Did you notice what happened when I asked you, how do you feel about your voice?" And she said, "Well, yeah. Why we're here, And then I said to her, what she told me to say was, "Join my speaking with my singing." That's what I got from her. So I said, "Are you aware you're speaking on F sharp?" I never said that to anyone. And she said, "I beg your pardon." She totally got it. She heard, she was here, she was speaking here, you see. And as soon as she heard that note in herself as a speaking thing, the tone of that made perfect sense. So she heard her voice through that approach. So I found that on here. And she heard it. She was, and that very professional, she was like, whoa! I was like, literally, I promise you, it was extraordinary. She was just suddenly just singing everywhere. Everything, nothing was separate. It wasn't like my professional voice versus my totally paranoid voice about whether my husband likes my singing. It was quite extraordinary. I said, "Wow, that was incredible. You just joined your speaking with your singing." And so she gave me this practice. I said, "Can I share this with other people?" And she said, "Wow, absolutely." But it was just so lovely, because she just really, that's all we ask for in this lifetime, really, isn't it? Is to be heard, to hear ourselves, to be heard. So what I learned from that was, so the practice was, what is your name? What is your name? Okay. So would you like just to ask me what my name is?
What is your name?
Chloe. Right, so that's just Chloe programming or Marie. Chloe. So I'm still hearing it just like my personality said it. Chloe. Now, so I've developed the practice a little bit now. So if I take the consonants away, so I only have the vowels. So then it's not just Chloe. And I'm not going to try and make it interesting, like Chloe. You know, I mean, none of that, because that's the tendency. You ask your name, and so all you have to do is just remember exactly what you did. Chloe. I'm remembering it as close as I can. Now I'm going to take the vowels away. Oe. Oe. Now I'm going to make those vowels longer. Oe. Oe. Chloe. Oe. 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 Now I'm hearing it just as pitch now, as sound, without it being a name. Oe. Do you see what I mean? It becomes, without any separation from the spoken to the sung, oh, oh. It's actually off the humming. Oh, Chloe. Oh. And the trick is not to get meaningful about it. If you get meaningful, you're lost, because you're already trying to be deeply interesting. And that is so uninteresting. So, would anyone just like to have a go at this? Would anyone like to have a go? Yeah? So then we can make sure you understand. Anybody just like somebody stand up or? Yeah, because you asked the question. Thank you. Yeah. So, we're all going to ask you, what is your name? Carol. Oh, sorry, we're all going to do it. So, Carol. Oh, sorry, we're going to ask you. That's sorry. No, never be sorry ever again about anything. We are so trained to be sorry. I mean, but I'm really, but I'm not even going to say the word because I confused you. It wasn't you. So we're now going to ask you all together.
What is your name?
Carol. Right. So now we're going to close our eyes. And I encourage you to close your eyes just to listen to what you just said, and then just do exactly what I did. Just say it again as you heard it. Carol, exactly. And just keep going. Just explore for yourself as long as you like. Carol. Yeah. Carol. And then when you're ready, just take the consonants away. Carol. Yeah. Carol. Carol. Now it's become a question a little bit, so it's changing, but that's okay.
I'm not understanding what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, your ego is trying to get involved. It's going, you could turn that into a question now, but you don't have to. It's deeply uninteresting, this, by the way. It's just really important. So, just, exactly. Now, make those two vowel sounds a bit longer. Give them more space and time. Ow. Yeah, brilliant. Ow. Yep. And just keep going. Don't try and change them. Yep. Ow. Okay, they've become a question, but that's fine. Yep. The move. It's on the move. Ow. Yep. Ow. Let's return to its original state. Ow. Now, if you would, just take a deeper breath and just extend the ah and the o of Carol, just so you can hear it more as a pitched thing. Ow. Exactly. And then give the o a little bit more energy. Ow. There it is. Ow. There it is. It's a piece of music, see? Ow. Yep. Don't change it, just stay with it. Ow. Ow. really interesting. It's got a little thing in there. Yeah. Sounds quite bird-like. How's that feel to do that? It's really strange.
It's like a base to where I want to be, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
I'm happy with the deep voice that I've got. I didn't have it always a deep voice, so
Yeah.
I'm happy with that. And so it's nice to know that I'm way down there.
Yeah. Well, you see, it may be different tomorrow, and also when you actually start exploring it. So just now, just start exploring it a little bit more.
I mean, I can go higher, but I don't understand.
Why should you?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if you found your note, why go
And
anywhere else?
that's where you always start those 7 tones.
Exactly. Well, you might do. Yeah, exactly. That would be really gorgeous. Yeah. But just now, just you can actually extend that practice a bit further, and just see what happens if it just like you say, "Dear soul, what would you have me sing?" And they're just like, so it's just, that was the starting point, you see, carol, music of carol. Can you hear it still? No, you haven't. No.
Carol.
Yeah. How could you possibly have lost
No.
it? It's you!
It just doesn't seem like it's right.
It's, right, that's the ego. What's the ego
Getting in
saying?
again.
What's not right about it?
I don't know, I think I'm hearing that sound and not my voice.
Okay, forgive me, I'll put that down.
And that's,
Yeah.
I'm trying to get that sound as opposed to, does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. So just now,
Ow.
yeah.
No, voice is gone.
I suppose is there anybody in this room that you absolutely love and know really well?
Nobody.
No.
All of you.
That's the right
Everyone.
answer.
Absolutely everyone. So we absolutely love you. We've come here to hear you. So it's as simple as just extending the you know, yeah. It's almost like a lullaby, actually. Yeah, and now if you sort of forget about the name and just think of them as sound. So that's the E and the C. That's very, very noble sounds. So if you like, also what you're teaching us is that the two notes you've sounded are the ga and the sa. Ka. So that's another place you can go with it. Yeah. Yeah. Strong sound.
Thank you.
Strong. Thank you.
Well done.
And there's one other practice you can add to that, which is, how do you feel? This is a separate practice. How do you feel? How does that sound? And then, finally, what quality of silence does your voice leave behind? And you can do that with that practice as well. What quality of silence does your voice leave behind? And that is really quite interesting. Because if you just don't have, we started with silence, and we're completing, if you like, with that awareness of how important silence is. If the silence is not there, you're going to kind of just get fixated in a kind of psychodrama of your voice. My relationship with my voice, finding my voice, my deeply interesting voice, whatever it is, which it is. I mean, obviously everybody's voice is deeply interesting. Once they start to really hear it and take ownership of it, exploring your voice from there, always coming back to it, So it's that unchanging note principle, which we have in the East and Western music and all kinds of music. But it's that unchanging note, the silence, that is so important. So shall we just finish with a song? I suddenly saw the time. So thank you so much for the quality of your attention. It was really, really very grateful. because obviously there's a whole conversation around how you might want to use this in the world or in your lives, and that will all be revealed, I'm sure, in the fullness of next week. There is a place I know, only I can go, and no one else can go there for me. Yes, no one else can go there for me. There is a place I know, only I can go, and no one else can go there for me. Yes, no one else can go there for me. There is a place I know, only I can go, and no one else can go there for me. Yes, no one else can go there for me. Gamagasa, 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 Sa sa ni ha ni da ma da ma, and no one else can go there for me. That is it. Thank you so much for your listening. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Cheltenham PHA. Brilliant. Amazing.
Yeah, it was wonderful, wasn't it?
Oh
Wasn't
my
it amazing?
God, strong voices. Do you feel you have discovered your authentic voice? Otherwise, we'll just do another 3 hours. Oh, go, one more song.
Yeah, another song.
Another song. Another song. All right.
Encore, yeah.
All right. Well, what should we do? Let's see. Oh,
Singing field.
singing fields. Good idea. Believe it or not, I've had Chloë this week, so that just shows that even if you have Chloë, You still could carry on, right?
Not Manfred.
So this one is a song that also Coleman Bart's, many of you will know the Rumi poem, Out Beyond Ideas of Right and Wrong Doing. There is a field, I'll meet you there. I changed that, so can I add the word singing? And he said, you do what the hell you like. So, okay, great, thank you so much. Out beyond ideas of right and wrongdoing, there is a field, a singing field. I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there. Some more words now. Beyond the veil of separation, where we can feel a new way to be. I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there. I'll meet you beyond the walls of isolation. There is a space, the way of grace. I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there. Beyond despair and misinformation, there is one call, love one, love beyond ideas of right and wrongdoing. There is a field. It's called Cheltenham. I'll meet you You can just all say, if you forget absolutely everything we've done today, we can just.
So